So in this video, I want to talk about the issue with human connection and the reason why your friendship or your relationship ends badly. The reason most relationships end on bad terms is that people don't know how to communicate and people don't know when the right time it is to end them and let that person go. And a lot of people, most people actually, the reason why relationships end so badly is because they either leave too early or they stay too long. And I'm going to go over basically the problem with both of those things. Most people don't know how to deal with ending a relationship at the right time because it hurts more. If you leave too early, you think about what could have been. And then if you leave too late, you think about the past too much with them and all the things you've been through. And it just gets harder and harder. And so I kind of had that similar feeling where I felt maybe I left too early. And the reason I felt that way was because where I'm at now, I had the conversation, I really wanted to say my opinion on the fact of where the relationship was at, where it was going, where it was headed, because I was just kind of confused at that, because we had different paths. And sometimes it hurts more to end a relationship at the right time than it does to do at the wrong time. Because when you end a relationship on bad terms, you are like, oh, fuck this person. I don't like them anymore. I never want to see them again. But if you end a relationship on good terms, you always are just looking back and thinking like, dang, like where did this go wrong? Like what happened so badly to the point where we couldn't be together, even though we have nothing wrong with each other. We don't hate each other at all. And most people prolong relationships. That's what I've seen with a lot of people. They'll stay in a relationship for as long as possible because they're afraid of going back to what their life was like before that relationship. They don't want to lose that person. And that's a very common thing to feel. And you don't want to lose somebody that you've gotten so close to. And then a lot of people only focus on the good in a relationship. And those people are the people that realize that when a relationship is going to be more work, they just back out of it and just are avoidant of actually working things out. And that's why relationships end too short, because you get into a relationship, you get overwhelmed, you don't really realize the sort of maybe commitment to your partner that you might have to do, or the sort of like obligation to be there, not just physically, but also emotionally for your partner. And a lot of people who leave too early just either ghost you or break up with you right out of the blue without you even knowing why. And that's just because they aren't mature enough. And you have to be okay with knowing whether or not a relationship will work out. Because when you talk to somebody in a serious manner about how you feel about their current relationship, that most people don't do, you figure out a side of them that you haven't learned yet. And you can get a glimpse of how serious they take you or your relationship. And for the people that do actually have these serious conversations in relationships, the thing is, the reason why it still ends badly when you have these conversations is because you try to gaslight yourself in your head into thinking it'll work out. When you have these conversations, you should know within a minute if this person is the right person for you or not. Because if you guys can't resolve stuff in a minute and figure out how to do stuff, that means it probably won't work out. It should be a very quick fix, and it shouldn't be something that should be prolonged, because the longer you stay in this uncertainty, the worse the relationship is going to end up, and the more likely you guys are going to end on bad terms, and the more likely you guys are going to hate each other. And so in my experience, the reason why I felt my relationship was cut too short was because I had a conversation, multiple, about just my thoughts and what I would like to see from the relationship, and nothing against the other person, but those thoughts weren't really taken into consideration with their own life. So it was kind of just like we were going down different paths, and that's fine. And I have no hate, I have no, emotion anymore towards this person. And I think that's a good thing to know. But because I ended it so early, at the time, I thought, dang, I'm like messed up. I don't know if like maybe I should have kept this relationship going, or maybe just like waited for me to calm down emotionally so I wouldn't be in the situation where I thought that I had to break up, or thought that I had to end the relationship because it wasn't going the way I thought. But in reality, the reason why my breakup hurt so much, and the reason why, is because my relationship ended on good terms. There was nothing toxic, nothing bad about how the relationship ended. It was a very mature ending. And when you end a relationship that is seemingly so perfect, and it ends in such a graceful, unstressful way, you kind of question why it even ended in the first place. And that's what people are so afraid of. They don't just want to end a relationship, that they question why. Because I think looking in the past at all the stuff you have done is not as bad as looking into the future of all the stuff you could have done. Like, I could have done probably a lot more stuff than I could have, or than I did with this person, if I just stayed in a relationship. But also, I didn't feel like I was getting the value that I deserved, or I didn't feel like we were going down the correct paths, and I didn't feel like we had the same kind of tempo in the relationship, or the same kind of feel toward it. We felt different ways about it, and even though I do believe we did both care for each other, I think the reason it ended was because sometimes people just have different paths for their life, and you have to respect that. And instead of prolonging it and lying to them and telling them that you're okay, and telling them that you're okay with the relationship, you need to be direct and honest about your situation. Because in my opinion, it's better to have a shorter relationship with somebody that ended well than a longer relationship with somebody that ended badly. Because if you have a longer relationship with somebody that ended badly, that pretty much means that you prolonged your ability to communicate with them, and you prolonged these conversations that needed to be had. When in reality, if you got to know them and only got to know them for like a few months, and really got to know them, you should, in those few months, realistically be able to have these conversations, determine if that person agrees with you and aligns with you on how they feel. And obviously you're going to have to work things out in a relationship, but if you both can maturely agree that you won't be able to work things out, at that point you shouldn't be chasing that relationship, and you shouldn't be having it in your mind as something that could be happening in the future. I know that's hard to accept for people, because that's why relationships all end badly, is because people can't accept that. But all I'm saying is, in your current friendship or your current relationship, if you have a problem, say it. Just say it. Stop avoiding conflict. I made a video on this previously, but you need to stop avoiding conflict and allow it to play out how it should have been at the right time, rather than months or years down the line when you've developed this close bond with somebody that's going to be harder and harder to break, where it gets on just bad terms and then it all just goes to shit. What you need to do is you need to surround yourself with people who you know that you connect with, and you know can agree it with you, and you know that can give you something to learn about yourself and something for you to grow, instead of you just feeling trapped or you just feeling miserable around them. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say. But just fix your relationships sooner rather than later, and start addressing conflicts now rather than when it's too late and it doesn't make any sense to at that point, because things are already messed up because you messed up. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.